You could have filled the Rose Bowl with all the people who came to Pasadena over the weekend, but they weren't in town for football. It was the annual open house at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It was a fun-filled day where children young and old had an opportunity to learn all about NASA's latest missions, to talk to actual engineers and scientists, and even get a look inside the Deep Space Operations Center, where folks at JPL are monitoring the Cassini spacecraft, the Mars exploration rovers, and they're getting ready for the launch on May 25 of the Phoenix lander.
The operation you see down below you, this is where the whole communications complex is centered. So all of the communications going out to spacecraft and coming back to Earth goes in and out of that room right down there. Suppose there's one of the Mars rovers that's sitting on the surface of Mars right now, and it wants to transmit an image of what it sees back to Earth. It would send a digital image of that to the orbiter that's orbiting around Mars at the present time, and then the orbiter would take that same data and transmit it back to Earth by the Deep Space Network. And we track all U.S. spacecraft through here, and we've also tracked European Space Agency missions, Japanese Space Agency. It's a cooperative effort, but NASA has the largest complex.
And Robert, I understand that you've worked at JPL for just about 50 years.
More than that.
When did you come here?
I actually transferred from Caltech up to the lab here on June 9th of 1952. At the time I started up here, I was hired by the director, Dr. Dunn, and he made me promise to stay for at least 2 years. I'm retired, but I come back in and help out at the open house, meet the younger set.
How many thousands of people would you say are here today?
We've been getting about 50,000 per weekend, 25,000 a day.
Any kids out here today who are determined to become an astronaut or engineer?
Oh, I'm sure there are. I've had some asking me questions.
And now you're out here where stamps and coins or medals are being sold, and you got a cover here. It says January 31st, 1958, Explorer 1 50th anniversary. And how were you involved in that?
Well, when Sputnik went up in '57, and of course we immediately wanted to put a satellite up too. We'd been proposing it for some years. So when we finally got the okay from President Eisenhower to go ahead and put it up, Dr. Pickering, the director at the time, he said, I want to publicize this. So we got Dave Garroway at that time, who had the Wide World show, which became the Today Show, come out and do a show from the console of the 20-inch supersonic tunnel that I was in charge of at the time. And so this show was done on the 19th of January, 12 days before we launched Explorer 1. And they had me put on a white jacket and carry a clipboard so I looked like an engineer, and we did the show nationwide.
You know, most people think NASA, outer space, but what is JPL helping us learn about the Earth?
Well, the Earth is also a planet, and so we study this planet just like we study Venus and Mars. We measure things that tell us about the weather and climate on the Earth, and one of the climate variables that we're starting to measure is carbon dioxide, a gas that we emit every time we exhale, light a fire, or start our cars. Over the last 50 to 70 years, we've been putting quite a lot of carbon dioxide into our atmosphere by burning fossil fuels, oil, gas, coal, that kind of thing. As the CO2 builds up, it's caused concerns about climate change because carbon dioxide is a very efficient greenhouse gas. It lets sunlight pass through just fine, but it doesn't let thermal radiation from the Earth's surface pass through. So the Earth heats up as it is illuminated by the sun. It tries to re-radiate that energy to space. It doesn't get out. It's trapped by carbon dioxide. As we build up the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, we'll trap more and more of this radiation, and we'll heat up the Earth. So that's a problem. Now think about this for a moment. Half of all the carbon dioxide that we're producing is being absorbed by land plants or by the oceans or by something we don't know about. The rate at which carbon dioxide is building up in our atmosphere would be double what it is today if it wasn't for those processes. And we don't know where they are, we don't know what they are. We also don't know whether they're going to continue to absorb half of all the carbon dioxide we produce as time goes on.
How will the project that you're working on right now help us learn?
The Orbiting Carbon Observatory is a small satellite that we're going to launch in December of this year. Once it's in orbit, it's going to make detailed maps of carbon dioxide around the entire world. We're going to be able to see for the very first time everywhere where the carbon dioxide is coming from and where it's going to. With that information, hopefully we'll be able to predict how much carbon dioxide will be building up in our climate system in the future and what impact it's going to have on our climate.
Then it'll be up to the politicians of the world to figure out what to do about the carbon dioxide emissions.
Absolutely. I'm a scientist. My job is to make a good measurement, the best possible measurement I can. I am not a politician, but I am responsible for providing my policymakers the very best data that they can have to make good decisions.
May 25 is the big day for the Phoenix, a date it's scheduled to land on Mars. But then the next project, or one of the next projects, is something that you're working on. Tell me about that.
Okay, so that's the Mars Science Laboratory. It's the next big rover. It's kind of the big brother to the Spirit and Opportunity rovers that are on Mars right now. It's about 3 times the size of the Spirit and Opportunity rovers. It'll launch in September 2009 and lands in June 2010, so it'll land and start sending back data in about 2 years from now.
Now, Spirit and Opportunity, they got to Mars in about January of '04. They were supposed to last for 3 months, and now more than 4 years later, they're still going. So how long is this one going to last?
This one's designed to last 1 Mars year, which is 687 days, and almost 2 Earth years. After that, hopefully it keeps going.
How are the kids responding to your display today?
Well, kids seem to be getting a big kick out of it. They're really enjoying it. You can see some of them have, we've built our own robots at home and that type of thing, so they seem to be real excited about this.
Were you one of those, build your own robot at home?
Not build my own robot, but I was always a space cadet, reading science fiction, all that type of stuff.
Now, what is your project? What is it going to do that the current Mars rovers aren't doing?
The biggest thing that this does is this has a couple of chemistry labs on board. So there's a drill that can actually go out and drill samples of rocks, put them in the chemistry labs, and then analyze them to see more directly what the rocks are made of. So there's a much better ability to understand what the composition of the surface of Mars is. And as I understand it, particularly looking for minerals that were formed in water and looking for organics, that type of thing.
And that's the big thing. Basically, where there was water, there must have been life?
Where there was water, there might have been life. On Earth, where you find water, you find life. Mars, who knows? But that's certainly what they're interested in finding out.
For SCVTV, I'm Leon Worden.
Santa Clarita, May 4th through May 10th is your chance to participate in Pride Week. The city of Santa Clarita is looking for volunteers to take pride in their community to help clean schools, neighborhoods, and streets. Volunteers are needed for a variety of different projects, including trash removal, flower planting, and graffiti removal. T-shirts and supplies are provided by the city. Pride Week is a fun way to join your friends and neighbors in keeping Santa Clarita a beautiful place to live, work, and play.
안녕.
konnichiwa.
아이보안.
Hey,
사람.
bonjour.
나마스테.
Привет.
Здраво. Привіт.